Listen, so before we dive into my show, I need you to understand a few things. The Save-On experience is just that, the Save-On experience. So be warned, these are my views, my thoughts, my opinions. So listen, don't take it serious. Don't get too upset. It's for entertainment purposes only, boo-boo. I don't really know you like that. You don't really know me like that, right? So we gonna be cool, right? We ain't gonna get mad, right? Because we know. I just speak what I think. So calm down. Chill out. It's just entertainment. You know, girl? So, keep it cute. And if you gonna listen from a place of love. Don't get too mad.
My people OG.
What's good? What's good, y'all? Can y'all look? Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? What's up, Jasmine? Diva One, Sly, Silent Artist, All Things Domain. Can y'all hear me out there in the world? What's up, Marcus? Miss O up in here. Lord Jesus, my mama in here. Yes, y'all hear me? Robin, I am. Okay, good. Y'all can hear me. What's up, babies? I have missed y'all. Miss O said happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Y'all, I've been busy. I've been busy wrestling life, girl. You hear me? Lions, tigers, bears, fish, cats, dogs. It's just been a plethora of things. So tonight is the mental health night. We checking on our strong friends, and we bringing in someone, baby. Y'all have seen me highlight her ass on my platform. Y'all, you don't understand, first of all, how much it means to me to have her on the show tonight, because I have literally watched this baby grow. And when I tell you it is full circle, I have learned so much from this angel, honey. The dark-skinned Aunt Viv is truly her name. But before we bring her in and get into some things, girl, how you feeling this mug, girl? I had to stamp my mother. Girl, I put too much over here, though. Y'all see that? It looked like somebody done knocked me in the goddamn face. So I've been getting abused. I've been getting beat up when I was gone, y'all. Listen, I'm going to be serious for just 1 second. 2020 has been a triple threat, literally. When I tell you guys, life as we know it changed dramatically. This time last year, I would have never thought that we would be in the predicament that we are in right now. COVID-19, yo, ghetto ratchet, raunchy ass. Has shown us just how fragile our lives really are. You know, how at the blink of an eye, an organism can come through and terrorize your mortality, your finances, way of life, family, friendships, but last but not least, health mentally and wealth mentally. Girl. But let me just tell y'all something. For me, not all has been a loss, because we collectively have spent the last 8 months, my social family, and presence has grown quite a bit. So what I want to know is, how do we make sense and embrace this new normal? I want you guys to be able to bring I want to be able to bring you quality content. And as my slogan has said, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Shaquansha.
Fuck you, bitch.
Oh. She said what she had to say, and I said what I had to say. So anyway, let me just tell you guys, I'm chatting with Aunt Viv in the back. Do you want me to play the video first, or would you like to come in and say hi first? Play the video first. All right, I'm gonna back right on up, and we gonna put up the video, and then we gonna bring in Aunt Viv. All right.
I'm so ugly. What?
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. You are so pretty. You all shut up. Go in the room. When you look at yourself, you supposed to say, I'm so pretty. You are so pretty. Do you hear me? You got the prettiest little dimples. You are too cute. Oh. No, you gonna make me cry. You're not ugly. Baby girl. Oh my God. Ariana. You're not ugly. Baby girl. You are so pretty. You are like, you have this beautiful chocolate skin. Like, you are just so gorgeous. You got these dimples. Remember what I told you? How many people got 2 dimples? Nobody. You got 2. Let me see you smile. Let me see. You got 2 dimples. I don't even have 2 dimples. Girl, let me see your teeth. Look at them pretty white teeth. No, you're not gonna cry. You are a beautiful little girl, and you are pretty. You are the prettiest girl in your class. Boom. Tell them straight up. When you go to school tomorrow, you got your hair done. You're gonna be like, oh, look at my hair. Oh, look at my shoes. Look at my clothes, baby girl. You are beautiful. Black is beautiful. And if don't nobody ever tell you, I will tell you, you are gorgeous. You are so pretty. And you're going to grow up and you're going to be everything that you can be. You're going to be the greatest nail tech, the greatest beautician, the greatest lawyer, the greatest doctor, the greatest teacher, whatever you want to be, the greatest speaker, the greatest entrepreneur, whatever. What you want to be? What you want to be when you get older?
The teacher.
You gotta be happy all the time because you're a little kid, you only 4, and you should not know nothing about being ugly because you are so beautiful. You hold your head up. You hold your head up. Okay? Okay? Have a hug? I love you. And you're so pretty.
Ooh, honey. Hold on. Oh, you ready? Tell me what happened here. The viewers didn't get to see the release. Tell me
Mhm.
what happened. What did this do for you?
Um, whew,
Mm,
I've
take your
I've been
time.
that I've been her. I've been that little girl. So it was like when I remember when I first saw the video and I saw her make that declaration. You
Mhm,
know, when we see these viral videos, we detach ourselves emotionally. We see them and we might get emotional, but we just keep on scrolling. You know what I mean? Like we ultimately detach ourselves emotionally, but this was not a viral moment in real life. This is a moment that happened to go viral. This is a conversation that that little 4-year-old girl would have had with herself had
mhm.
it gone viral or not. And so when I watched it and I heard her make the declaration, so I'm watching it from a psychological perspective, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I hear her make the declaration, but because we're kindred spirits, I'm like, I know that that declaration is so much deeper than just that moment. So I'm watching it, and she says, "I'm so ugly," and the hairstylist gasped, and she looks back and she's like, "What?" And the hairstylist begins to affirm her and to uproot this thought process with love, but also with authority. And
Mhm,
so she's listening. And if you pay attention, like I'm giving you kind of the verbal play by play, if you pay attention, as she's listening to what the hairstylist is saying, she's looking still at her reflection, and then her body sinks down, like her
mhm,
shoulders sink down.
mhm.
And everybody else sees that and they think, oh, this 4-year-old has low self-esteem. And one thing that I've said, 4-year-olds don't have low self-esteem.
They
4-year-olds
don't.
they don't know the difference between ugly and pretty, or much less where they fit in the spectrum socially.
Mhm,
This is a social construct. And 4 year
mhm.
olds do not create social constructs. They
Nope.
just shape their lives around them. And
Yep.
so when her shoulders sink as she's hearing, because she's hearing something that's in conflict with what she
Of
has
what she's
determined
heard.
that she's going to believe about herself. And so
Mhm,
she's looking at her reflection and she's hearing what the lady's saying, and her shoulders sink. And at that moment, what it was for me being a kindred spirit, I was like, she had already determined that she was going to accept that as her truth.
mhm,
And so my point to people is, imagine if there had not been an adult in the room to intercept that thought process and to
mhm.
give her something else to believe about herself. And I know what happens when there's not somebody there to intercept that, because I've lived it. And so it's really interesting to see, I think, in this era where it's, this, I didn't grow up in Wakanda. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
So in this
Yeah.
post Wakanda era where everybody's calling each other queen, for little black girls to be calling themselves, to look in at their reflection and call themselves ugly, like, it is so painful. But it was also just like, oh my God, for me it's like, wow, we are still going through this,
Yep.
because I recognize that. um I think for me, when I look at that video and why I wanted to show it, if we were going to talk about childhood trauma, it was not necessarily just to define trauma itself, so much as to give an illustration of how the child brain works. When she says, I am ugly, that's a
Mhm.
conclusion.
Yeah.
And so when people talk about conclusions, what do they say about conclusions? How do you get to a conclusion? You reach a conclusion. You
Mhm,
arrive to a conclusion. So we don't hear the story of how the baby got to that conclusion.
mhm.
All we hear is that she's reached the conclusion.
Right.
And so that just kind of gives you this illustration of how these babies respond to their emotional environment. Babies are very perceptive. The child's brain is very perceptive. That's all that they have to depend on in order to live. When they
Yeah.
perceive when it's too cold, they perceive when it's too hot, they perceive when they're hungry, they perceive when they need to be held. And so they are constantly responding to the stimuli of their external environment. So for
Mhm,
this child to be 4 years old and to
mhm.
be able to pick up on the stimuli of her environment, to receive some type of messaging about the way that she looks, it hit me in a different way, because I've been
Girl. I,
there.
I sat there and as we watched, I watched you.
Hmm.
That's what I did. I've seen the video and I watched you. And it is amazing how long I've known you. And at a point when I met you. And first of all, how I met you. Because listen, divas and jivas, as brown skinned and beautiful as she is, so are her parents. Brown skinned and beautiful. Yo, mama, I hope she gets to see this playback because I feel like, you know, showing love to you, also extends the love and the seeds that they as parents sowed into you. Because I remember the first time you came, I was doing your hair, and you always thought outside the box of style. And that's why you and I were just like, girl, let's just do it. You remember, like, whatever you wanted to do, I was like, fuck it, girl. Let's just do it. It'll grow back. It'll whatever. Just do it. And we went through this roller coaster. And the reason why I'm bringing it back to hair, because I see a lot of people who define themselves and their beauty via their hair.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You remember when you decided, I'm just gonna cut it off and go natural? You remember that? I was so honored to be a part of that process because one, I was like, bitch, you gonna rock it. You gonna rock it. But that's a conclusion of sorts too. How did you get to that point? What helped you get there?
You know what? I really think probably my friends. I have a couple of best friends from Nashville, and I think just they always gave me a space to exist in my authenticity. And I think that brought me to that space on top of, I was tired of doing my hair. Like and then I went natural and I was like, oh, this is still work. But yeah. I think that was it. I think, and so that was really odd. Like, and that's interesting that you bring that up because people would have perceived at that moment that I was so comfortable in myself, but the level of comfortability that I have with myself today, that's a completely different level from where I was at that moment. Yeah.
I have to definitely agree. I see a different person. And you never, first of all, you never walked that, at least from what I could see, there was never a representation that you was walking with your head down at all. And for one, the people who I know to be your parents wasn't going to allow that anyway. Okay. You know who? Okay. You better act like you know better. But I do understand when you walk outside the house, and I can, being someone of the trans experience, I know all so well. When you walk outside the house, that's a different level of affirmation and confirmation that we look for subconsciously. And as it relates to my mom, so, we want to talk about growing up. I've, throughout this whole COVID-19, I'm not going to segue, but I have to say this because, one, I know my mom is watching. And this is something that I wanted to say to her offline, but we always end up talking about something else, girl. But anyway, I'm going to do it now. Some people grow up and they feel like, I've been watching the Ayanla, Fix My Life, etc. And they talk about how, their childhood and the traumas, linked to their childhood has defined them who they are today. And a lot of times the experiences are negative ending into positives. The one thing, as I thought back, how did I get here today? And with COVID-19 having us all in the house, I've had a whole lot of time to think about stuff that I don't want to think about. So I thought about it, and when I tell you that the best part of my childhood is, because I'm still learning, and was my mom. There are no negative traumas. There are no traumas linked to her. And a lot of people don't understand she was learning as she taught me. And so I sat there in that space and I thought about how I became the person who I am and the things that I've gone through and how all of those things was outside the household for me. Because within my household, baby, she did nothing but build me up regardless of what they outside the household thought of me, categorized me, etc. She was my number one fighter. And for that, I need her to know, and everybody else, if she ever had a moment to where she felt like she didn't do right by me, don't you dare. You were the best thing that
Yes.
happened to me.
Yes.
So anyway, digress. Watching you, girl, I am so super fragilistic. Proud of you. Do you even see yourself in the space that you are in today? Have you taken a moment to
Ooh.
reflect?
Yes. But only today. Only like
Only
now.
today?
Only now. Like
Well,
only
thank you, God. That
presently.
was my purpose. You're welcome.
Yes. So and I mean, I grew up in a very this isn't something that I openly talk about, but I grew up in a very controlled environment.
Oh,
I had a military dad, Pentecostal mom.
oh, yeah.
So there was kind of, as I got older and I started, so part of this transition and this epiphany that you're witnessing was my recognition, like I had existed in this space, and I feel like everybody was, their intention was to do right by me, to put
Of
me on
course.
a right path, most
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
But I had existed in this space where my actual identity was not reinforced.
Okay.
If it was more of my performance. And in
Mm-hmm.
some cases, I was expected to perform a functionality for which I had no foundation.
Yep.
So, people would see me, right, and would believe that, I came from a leave it to beaver type of situation. It wasn't exactly that.
Yep.
I mean, it wasn't all hell breaking loose, but it
Of
wasn't
course.
exactly that. And so, kind of, breaking free out of this pattern of I have to exist in this box and I have to be this so that I can get people's approval, because without people's approval, I can't exist. That transition, first of all, it's liberating, but it's
Yeah.
confusing
As
AF.
hell. Yes. It is. It is. And for people to think you have it together just because you've broken into that space of sex self-actualization, and then they come to you like, girl, so, and you be like, wait a minute, I'm still working on it. I don't have the answers. Hold up.
Right.
I
That's
don't know.
it. That's it. That's
I know
it.
what this like. I mean, but I have to honestly say, watching you grow and unfold. First of all, I didn't know this word lived in you. And I have to say, I believe you said a Pentecostal mom.
Mm-hmm.
That was their contribution there. Because baby, when you get to
That was.
talking, I remember.
It was.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I remember, and I'm like, okay, that calling on your life and the things that you've gone through are tools to help you bring
Mm-hmm.
people like you into a fold and a space where typically it's not as open and inviting to walk
Mm-hmm.
into. People walk into spaces with people that they identify with.
Amen.
You've got to be able to bear, or I'm sorry, let's go old school. Their spirit has to bear witness.
All right now.
Okay. I try to keep my foundation
All right, churchy.
sometime tucked underneath just because I don't want folk coming to me thinking I know something, girl. My whole family, mother side and father side, evangelists, bishops, gospel, that's it. That's it.
Yes.
So I understand when you say they're all meaning the best for you. That's the best that they've been taught. And they're encouraging what they believe to be the best route based off of traditions, and what they feel is right. And so sometimes you have to have those of us who come in and break the mold, who kind
That's
of shake
right.
some things up and open their eyes to another way of thinking, or, inclusion.
Yeah. I think that's exactly it. And I mean, like I said, I mean, it's liberating for me. It's full of freedom, but it's also really confusing, like I said, because is so different from anything I had ever seen before. And so, you know, part of my self-awareness is kind of giving myself that permission to exist in this kind of unknown, so to speak, for me anyway.
I wish I would have picked up some pictures because the way you walked into the unknown fashionably, fashionista. Why aren't you modeling, by the way? Let me just ask that question
Come
because,
on, speak it into
baby,
existence.
I'm just trying to. I don't understand why not.
I know. Okay. I don't. Okay. Maybe I'm
What
just
is it?
overwhelmed. I don't know how to get in. I don't know how to break into it. Maybe we need to talk. And I need to go ahead and make that move.
Girl, first of all, you breathe it. You just put on whatever, and it's like, damn. I mean, girl, you ought to see me. There was one day you had on this coat, and I should have seen. I didn't want to know how much you want your business out there, so I didn't bring up pictures from your Instagram, girl. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be about a topic, but you know, I be trying to showcase and celebrate people too. But you had this coat, and then the wall, the grass wall.
Yes.
Tell me about that space. Tell me about that space, because baby, I have seen many red carpet outfits in that space.
It's just my little background, and I mean, it's very fitting because I really actually like nature a lot. So
You do.
Yeah, that's just my little background, and I play around it. I haven't done it in a while, but yeah, and my mom was a huge influence on style. I mean, you know that.
I do know that. I do know that. And you know what's uncanny? How much you guys look alike at the same age.
True.
I mean, I guess that's not shocking, but fashion, I mean, like, I don't know if it was you or I think it was you that showed me a picture of your mom when I was like, wait. So you need to tell me.
Like that whole style thing, I feel like I was the person that ate that up. Like she really didn't have to do that much, but she exposed me to so much.
Yeah, it's natural.
Mm-hmm.
It's DNA.
It is.
It's DNA. Okay. You forget, I know your sister too. It's DNA. You guys. But you take it a little further, and I'll be like, she just keep pushing that damn envelope. And I'm opening it. I'm like, show me another envelope, girl, because I love it. Okay. So we're talking about childhood traumas.
Right.
How do you feel those childhood traumas? Because in that video, I felt like a good thing was broken that changed that baby's life and path. Because we make decisions based off of experiences and what we have received and ingested in childhood.
Whew. Okay.
And we unconsciously do it. Girl, what you sipping on? What libation do you have tonight?
Honey,
because you took a gulp.
It's just some Pinot, honey. It's just some Pinot Grigio.
I mean,
you know
you gulped it. And, you know, a little Pinot Grigio. Yes.
Okay, so the child brain is constantly adapting to its environment. And so one of the things that I say is like your inability to recognize or define an experience as traumatic does not diminish the impact of the trauma. So one thing for me, like as I continue to like research childhood trauma, like I'm into this. So as I continue to research it and like read about it and watch videos and lectures, different things like that. One thing that I find is well, like I said, like your inability to recognize it doesn't stop it from occurring, but also like how the child when the child responds to trauma, it actually affects like the epigenetics. So even though your actual DNA is not, your genetic DNA is not being changed, your social and emotional DNA is being affected. And so that affects the way that you respond to different types of things.
Correct.
So, I mean, yeah, like I saw the breaking. I was so excited that somebody was there, like I said, to just to intercept that reality. But I could really identify with her on a deep level.
I said, and there was a moment for me. It wasn't at that age, girl. It was probably in my 20s. Because I went through my self-discovery phase. It was a lot going on, girl. It was a lot going on. I had a Black Jesus moment because I was bought up in the church. So I was fighting the whole trying to be the image in which they say I should be versus how do I have 22 inches or more of hair as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, how could I do both?
Right.
So I went through the phase of like full beards girl with long luxurious hair, and mama went to a phase where she just called me the Black Jesus when that was happening. That was her way of dealing with it. And then evolving into what, as I move forward, becoming more comfortable and understanding why I was so uncomfortable in certain lanes. And then how do I navigate growing and understanding the lane that I am in, that I am comfortable in, and understanding my purpose in that lane, especially when I've been taught that's really a lane that I should have no business playing around with it. It's like fire and brimstone. I'm playing with bombs, but then trying to understand who you authentically is or are, So, baby girl was going through that moment then, and she was only repeating what she had been told. Let's not lose sight of the fact that that's what's been told to her. And then when she goes to school and she's singing all the cultures and nationalities, and you know how they do, they slanging their hair, and
Yes.
it's not kinky curly. It's not. Giving you a variety of options.
The
And I
edges is
think
real smooth.
we edges. First of all, they have edges. Let's talk about that. Their ponytail is long, flowing, and withstanding. But here's what I had to teach my niece, because me coming in a space where I do hair, I wanted her to understand the blessing in the fact that her hair is so diverse. She can have a plethora of options. She can silk it out if she wants to and be as silky as Rapunzel. She can have it as curly as she wants. She can have it as kinky as she wants it. She can have dreads. She can have whatever. And that's on her head without having to do anything. She has options. See, when you have silky straight hair, and this is no shade to anybody who does, but that's all you got, boo. I mean, unless you get a perm or, you got to do so much to change it. That's all you have. You have no options. So I think a lot of times we have to see the options that we have and find the blessing in the diversity and the versatility of those options. Life, hair, fashion, talent, style. And one thing that I've learned with people and humanity is that we tend, and I say we as a whole, not to single anyone out, but we tend to suppress, say the old crab in a bucket, we tend to suppress what we don't and who we don't want to, succeed over us, regardless of your race.
Oh.
We will talk to you. We will tell you what we think that you need to feel and how you need to think about yourself in order to keep you in a space so that we or others can continue to build. And it starts with our kids. It starts there.
Say that.
Because they are a sponge. They don't know any different. Racism starts with the kids. That's not something that you're born with. You're taught racism. You're taught discrimination. You're taught how not and who not to love.
Amen. Amen. So one of the things I wanted to touch on as well as, just as long as we're speaking about childhood trauma as it pertains to, especially it pertains to all cultures, but especially as it pertains to Black culture, because obviously we're Black. So we have, when I think about a Black American history, right? So that's a specific brand of history.
It's
right?
a brand. It's
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very specific brand of history that ultimately, if you really acknowledge it, I'm not saying that this is the fact. I'm saying that Black American history, that brand of history, typically starts in America with slavery. So you're thinking about bodies packed up on each other, chained up, lynchings, disenfranchisement, marginalization, all of these things, slums and ghettos, all of these things that are attached to Black people.
Yep.
When trauma is your history, it becomes difficult for you to identify the daily microaggressions and daily subtle idiosyncrasies as trauma. So baby, trauma is your history, and you can identify the little stuff that happens as trauma. So now you walking around double, triple, quadruple traumatized because you got the epigenetic thing going on where you've got the trauma of slavery stored in your DNA. And then you've got the daily traumas that, with Black people, if you wasn't chained, if you wasn't lynched, if you didn't almost die, is it trauma, really? And so you got Black people that really can't identify what trauma is on a daily basis. So then that, like I said, that trauma does not cease to exist. It's still on you. So now, on top of just healing trauma, you've also got to heal the coping mechanisms that you've developed to pretend like you don't have trauma, right? And so one of the things that I am very focused on in my movement is I want to push people to stop especially our culture. Don't just measure trauma according to the violence. Don't just measure it according to how demonstrative or how illustrative or how devastating it is. I want you to measure trauma according to the impact. So, for instance, if I was 200 pounds, 6 feet, and I'm driving a car and I've got a 4-year-old baby in the back seat, no car seat, no seat belt, no nothing. I'm 6 feet and 200 pounds, and we have a head-on collision. My adult body is going to be able to withstand a different level of withstand a different level of trauma, a different level of injury than the 4-year-old body in the back seat.
That's right.
That's how I want us to look at trauma, not according to did it almost kill you, but how did it impact you? And when you're a child, it impacts you on a much deeper level because you don't have all of the connections, the neurons in your brain to help you understand what's happening.
And this is why I have been a person that has always wanted to fight for, our new generation.
Amen.
I realized that not only, with my sister, but with my niece. This is why I'm so protective of her. People, oh my God, can I meet her? No, ma'am, because I don't know what you bringing to the table. And she's at an age just to say she can't process the shit that I can process. You know what I'm saying? She can't take that impact. Her body, her physical and her mental is not mature to take all that. But that's when a lot of people, if you think of predators, they always try to find a prey that they can impact the most, the one that they can overpower and empower the most. It's a whole psychological science to finding your next victim, and people know kids is where they go first. And this is why a lot of these parents and a lot of these people, and I'm not singling anybody out, your focus is not on your children, it's on you, and you are doing a disservice to them. And this is why we have babies being impacted and on a lot of my platforms we talk about molestation and things like that because there's no one protecting these babies. All of that, all of it.
Oh yeah. The
mental and the physical abuse. So then when you're grown and you're making decisions and you're wondering, why is this grown ass person making these dumb ass decisions? Tread lightly. You don't know their history. You don't know what they've been through. And I'm a type of person, you know me. I'm I absorb. I absorb people's energy. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
connect with them. You know that about me.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot
Yes.
of people don't understand why I connect with certain people and why I do the things I do with and for certain people. But this is a walk that I have with God that I know I've been placed here to do. And it's not really for them to understand. I know that I'm blessed. I know where my blessings come from. And me and my mom, we had a saying, you may not understand it, but you got to respect it.
Mm.
You know, I mean, it's been,
Hey.
girl, I've been sitting here thinking about so much during the COVID-19. And like I said, where I started to before we got into our conversation, when I was talking to, my Jivas and Divas, honey, of the Save On experience, that I have to make sure that my content is doing what I set out to do. It needs to bless and it needs to continue to pass on information. And so I made a video a couple weeks back where I stated, listen, you might not see me every weekend because if God is not leading me to say something, there's nothing that's going to be said.
That's
I'm
real.
not getting on here just to say shit and do shit. There's no value in it. I'm not doing it. And it's not that I'm
Yes.
abandoning anybody. I am reigniting the purpose that I knew was for me that I started in December. I came back to have a
Yes.
word to say things. My life is a testimony. I am here to be able to help others walk in that space. And I'm going to learn from it. But if I don't have anything to say and I'm just sitting on here trying to make up shit, I'm not going to be on here, boo-boos.
Nah, yeah.
Not doing it.
Yeah. I was talking to my friend today about how, very when you read the Bible, it's very limited the amount of
Mhm.
ministry that Jesus did in the church. He was
In the
in the
church.
church, but
Yeah,
he was moving around. His ministry was a movement.
it was.
So, I feel like that is what ministry is for us as well.
It just helped me
And
understand your position a little bit more too. Because I was like, why ain't she in the church doing something? Because she got the gift. And I was like, God just told me that ain't where he wants you right now. He wants you walking in spaces that the church doesn't reach, that people are afraid to walk in.
why do you know that?
Because I told you. Girl, I've been wanting to have this conversation with you so long. But like I said, I had to wait until I felt led and in a space to do that. And this is going to be very different from my audience because they've not seen all of this part of me. They don't know how much of an empath I am. They just see how I move and they don't understand it. But I'm ready to be transparent.
That one was hard. That was hard for me
I know. I
because
know.
religion was my first portal to
Mm-hmm.
spirituality. And
Yep.
that was the only context through which I could understand spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
And so reaching this conclusion of, I don't know if this is really my vibe. Oh, baby, that felt like betrayal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was hard.
Yeah. And you know what? For me, it's the same thing. It's a different audience, but it's the same thing.
It's the
And
same
and
thing.
you know, I've been told, girl, you're gonna have to stop running. But where do I fit? Because everywhere I've turned, people who look and act like me have been turned away.
Amen.
So my purpose is to let them know that there is another path. You don't have to walk the same path that excuse me, we were talking about childhood traumas. There's a such thing as adulthood traumas as well for,
Say that.
more communities who are walking into their truth as an adult. They're going through childhood events as an adult.
Say that. Say that.
Some people feel that the only doors they can walk through, especially from a trans experience, is the door that has them on their back.
Ooh.
And I'm not shading nobody who's ever had to do that. I'm just saying there's more to you than that.
Mm.
There's more than you there. And it was never an option for me. Bitch, I would flip 15,000 burgers before because I wasn't going to let anyone put me in a space that I did not fucking belong.
Yeah.
That's where they wanted me. You mean we used to talk about the challenges that I would have in the corporate space? Being someone of the LGBT community, I may not have gotten into details, but I would
Yes, not
allude to certain
details.
things.
Yes.
Girl, one day God is gonna walk me through how to navigate through that story. But I gotta still work through the pain.
Ooh, yeah.
Everybody see America's auntie.
Right.
But it wasn't
Yes.
until I saw. Let me tell you another thing. And y'all, I'm drinking orange juice, so ain't no, I got an orange juice tonight. Ain't no Jesus juice tonight. But I was watching the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air 30 year, 27th year reunion on YouTube, and the original Aunt Viv came through.
Come on now.
And how she talked about her struggle and her walk and the things that she had to go through, and how she held that in, and how her and Will needed to talk about, and how she now has that moment she can release. It's time 27 years later, because sometimes you speaking your word is not helping the path at that time. You have to get to a space to where you can. But people look on the outside, felt like she just walked away from the show. She was difficult to work with. She was all these things when she was fighting for her life and not in public.
Oh, girl, that is such a good point about, as we talk about self-awareness. That's been that's a big thing for me. And it's not popular now. It's not popular. That whole period of isolation, right? So when I recognized that so much of what I had thought about myself that wasn't right and wasn't accurate and wasn't really what I thought was really a product of my environment, baby, I had to back off. Like I mean, for real, like I had to get ghost, and even the isolation, as much as it may have hurt other people, you know what I'm saying? Like that stinks. I hate that for you, but baby, you don't understand it. It hurt me a lot more.
It did.
But I really felt like that isolation, that ability to just be with myself and start to go through that process of identifying what that was a huge part of self-awareness.
Yep. It's the bigger picture. And I've often told several people, if I step back, it's nothing that you've done. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. And I have to constantly have discussions with friends and say, it's not about you.
It's not about you.
I wish it was, but it's not about you. Hell, it ain't about me. Hell,
it's not about
I don't
me.
even want to do the shit, but I got to, because it's above me now.
There we go. It's above me. It's above me now, sweetie.
It's above me now. So listen, I can't move forward without showcasing a video, and you know which video I'm talking about. It's the imposter video, the imposter syndrome. Girl, when I tell you, I feel like people should hear this. I have never heard a spin put on it like that. And I'm not going to say clarification put on it like that. I watched it about 10 times because I'm still every time I watch it, I pick up something different. Oh, shit, really? They don't know my struggle. They don't know the shit that I had to go through to get here, but they got so much to say about the product, but they don't know about the ingredients. So for those who hadn't seen it, let us take a moment, let you see it. We're going to showcase it and put us in the back for a second, okay? One moment.
So I was thinking about, like, why am I having issues putting my faith into practice? Why am I having issues transcending from faith to action? Like, why am I having an issue with that transition? Why am I having an issue with feeling empowered and feeling courageous and feeling equipped? Why am I having an issue with this? And so, sometimes when we do things like that, we're trying to go through our brain, we're trying to find an answer. What we find? We find an excuse, and we disguise that excuse as an answer. And so I was talking to God, like, you know what I'm saying? One of my favorite things to do is to tell God about me. Like, that's like my favorite thing. I'll be like, I know this gonna sound crazy because you made me. But let me tell you something about your girl that you didn't know. Let me tell you something about your girl. So I told God, right? I know you don't know this. I said, but I have imposter syndrome. I have imposter syndrome. Did you know that? That's what it is. I just figured out the puzzle. We just figured out Blue's Clues. Because we're really smart. Like, for real. I have imposter syndrome, God. Like, real talk. He said, that's interesting, Valisa. He said, but there is one issue with that mentality. One issue with your little philosophy. I said, what's the issue, God? I mean, it all made sense to me. What's the issue? Yeah, the thing is, imposter syndrome. Yeah, maybe you do. Maybe you do. I mean, just there's one little detail, though. There's just one little problem. You see, I know imposters, Valisa, who have more confidence than you. I know imposters who are more confident in themselves than you. They are more confident in who they pretend to be than you are in who I designed you, in who I called you to be. I know people who out here faking it till they making it more secure in what they fake producing than you are in what I gave you. I said, well, you didn't have to say it quite like that. I mean, you could have just, you know. They don't teach manners in heaven. Like, an imposter is an imposter because they pretend to be somebody else for the purpose of accumulating fraudulent gain. They are pretending to be someone that they are not for the purpose of manifesting a profit that does not rightfully belong to them. You waking up every day knowing who you are. You know that you are you. You know that you are designed to be you and nobody else. So you're not an imposter in that degree. You know who you are. You know what your problem is. You don't believe that the dividends that are coming to you are rightfully yours. The second somebody got something to say about what's coming to you, you take on what they think as what you think and you make it your own personal insecurity. Now you got a problem with what you get into. But wasn't nobody hating on the struggle that I placed on you. Wasn't nobody hating when you was at the bottom and you started at the bottom and honey, you couldn't hardly get to the middle. And wasn't nobody hating in. You have a problem inheriting what is rightfully yours. That's the only way. That's the only place where you are an imposter. You don't believe what's yours is yours. So anybody can convince you. Any obstacle can convince you. Any challenge can convince you that what's yours ain't yours. But I heard the psalmist say what God has for you. I heard the psalmist say what God has for you, it is for you. That's what I heard the psalmist say. You're not an imposter. You just haven't learned to see yourself as God sees you.
Period, Pooh. Period, Pooh. I just felt like that was all that was missing was period, Pooh. Tell me about this journey. Tell me about this moment. Girl, so like what were you going through? Like tell me about this. This was powerful.
I mean, I face that. I really, really, really do face that. And I guess what when I show up to, social media, Instagram, whatever, like that's what I show up with is what I'm currently going through and trying to package that for other people so that they can know it's not just you. And so it was this idea like of imposter syndrome and me being like, God, you're calling me to be things that I'm really not. And me telling God, like, I'm not that. And, me telling my creator, That's not me. That's not me. Being called into
Mhm.
something that
Mhm.
I felt like I couldn't embody. And then being brought to a
Mhm.
process of really having to spiritually question, why can't you embody
Mhm.
that? What is it that holds you
Mhm.
back from being able to embody that thing? And a lot of those reasons why you can't embody don't have nothing to do with you. They don't have anything to do with you. They have to do with things that you picked up from your environment, messages that you adapted to. And so
Mhm.
you lean on those things as a crutch for why you can't grow. You can't be what God called you to be. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, that was really the thing. Like, it was just like, you're not an imposter, Valisa, because imposters have more confidence than you.
I ain't
And
never, you know what? I never thought about it like, girl, when you said that, wait a minute. I was like, I mean, it's a no for me. I
to
was
get
like,
up and
no, ma'am.
faith, to
But you know
faith
what?
every
That's
day.
true. That's true. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you, because since I'm being transparent, let's talk about how that
Come
resonated.
on, Bob.
How's that resonated with me?
Okay.
So, in the salon, in any professional space that I'm in, I am the most
Yes.
critical of myself. I tell everybody involved with me, you can't be harder on me than I am to myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, the rewards that I see, the work and effort that I put into it, although is great, right? Sometimes I'll be like, but wait, like you gotta do A through Z, and God is like, you doing that plus some. Why do you feel like what you're putting out is so less than?
Amen.
And I think sometimes when we're hypercritical of ourselves, we want we can't ever appreciate our output because it's never good enough,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't realize how good it is and how better than it is.
Amen.
We never get to appreciate the gifts that he's given us.
Oh
I had
yeah.
a moment today in the shop. I did somebody's hair and she loved it and I loved it. But everything that I saw was, okay, girl, so you could have did this, that, and that just a tad bit better.
Wow.
But she was like, bitch, she didn't say that. But she was like, you don't understand. I've been looking for somebody who can
Yes.
silk press my hair for real. And I'm like, well,
Yes.
girl, I mean, this is just standard, like I didn't tell her what I felt was what I could have done better. But she was just like, oh my God, like, let me book my appointment next. Let's put me in every 2 weeks, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I was still like, I mean, girl, but I could have did this better. But I'm like, God was like, stop.
So, yeah.
You superseded her expectations. You welcome.
And that's ministry.
It's great that you want to continue to be better than. That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But enjoy the blessings. Enjoy the compliment. Receive. You know what I'm saying? So when you
Yes.
said you just can't accept yourself, you hating on yourself. There are people who are wanting to live the existence that you live, and they're living it fraudulently. Online, people are renting cars, putting on certain clothes that they tried on at the store, acting like it's in a closet to build this online brand. But then when you go home, it's very not what that is. Or they have all these things, but when you look at their bank account, they're barely making it. And people don't understand that.
Oh yeah. Oh
Listen,
yeah.
we've got a few people at the door.
What's up?
Well, you rung
Hello,
my
hello.
doorbell. Hello, Miss Jasmine.
How you doing? How you doing?
Miss
How's everybody
Jasmine Divine,
doing?
I would love for you to meet the dark skinned Aunt Viv. When I tell you,
Salutations.
how are you enjoying the show?
When I tell you y'all have been giving out words to people that if you would just open up your mind and listen, like you can get a word from anyone. I've often sit and I've thought about different things and I feel like this. You can get a word from a child if you listen.
Mm.
So if
Oh
people would
yes.
just, instead of assuming that it has to come from a spiritual leader or assuming that it has to come from a person that you can get a word from a stranger. You can get a word from a
Mm-hmm.
song that you don't listen to 1,000 times, but it wasn't at that point that it's going to take and click. And then when there was that time that you needed to click and you need to hear something to uplift you, you got that word. So, I'm a advocate fan now, and
Oh.
I'm going back to, listen to some of your stuff because your last video,
Mm.
girl, if I was on camera, you'd have seen some of the duck tears rolling out. I mean,
Mm.
it opened it up because how many of us that know people, not, let me take it a little step, a little differently. How many of us have been in that place that we play that fraudulent role in order to entertain, to
Mm.
get what we want out of a person, but then we can't keep that up. So I often said, Savon, to tell you, I often have said it to people, like within people and friendships, you can only play that fake face for 6 months. After
Amen.
that 6 months, you start to see who that person really is. And some of them don't even give you 6 months. Some of them give you a month and a half to a month and a half to 2 months.
Okay.
And then
Mm.
that fake little clown that they took and they put it in front of your face. They take and they break it down. So I'm like
Mm-hmm.
at a different place in my life. Speaking on this, you know, instead of telling people what I want in a relationship, I say, we're gonna go and we're gonna see what happens, because when you're at a place that you tell a person what they want, they're gonna take and put that fake facade on so they can get what you want, or either get with you. And to me, it's worth taking a look at, because a strong friend said it to me. It's worth taking that 80% over that 20%. So I'm not
Mm.
gonna be
Amen.
shooting for that whole 20%. I'm shooting for the 80% on the long haul. But
Mm.
anyway, I
Uh-oh.
mean, I ain't trying
We
to
got
get in,
somebody
but
else at the door.
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying
Look.
it.
Oh, that bitch is hungry. Girl, why you knocking on my door like
Oh, what's
that?
up, cousin
Girl,
Shay?
beating it down.
Girl, like I told you I was coming. So Aunt Viv, meet, listen, we call him Cousin Faith. I don't know why he gave him that name, because he ain't just out here screwing everybody like that, but this is Cousin
Right.
Faith.
I cousin Faith.
I mean, he gave him his
Girl,
own. He gave him his name.
The
that
Bam.
I'm Bambi, but they call me cousin Fat because that's what they treat me like, cousin Fat girl. You
Who
know, I'm the
is
cousin. I'm the
that?
cousin. I'm the cousin when I pop up. Just how she was like, girl, why you knocking on my door, girl? That's how they treat me, cousin Fat girl. Girl, she walked in the
That's
door
how they
with.
treat
Came
you,
Like,
in with the
cousin
shade.
they be looking at me like I walked in the door with bags instead of food, girl. Where the food at? You didn't bring nothing
Came
to eat,
in the
girl.
shade.
Faith. Oh
Came in with
my
the
God. Who
shade.
said that?
Look, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Oh my
And
God.
then
Who
when I walk in the door,
said
they grabbing their man, girl, like, would you, girl?
Oh,
Well, your track record says, survey says, wrong answer.
that?
you know
Not
what?
survey.
No, but I just want to come in and say real quick. I was like, I love me good old motivation, a good old nasty motivational speech, girl. I was like, y'all is over here uplifting the kids, honey. I was like, sis, sometimes that's why I'm always,
Cousin.
and I've said this before, because it doesn't take but 2 seconds out of your day to compliment somebody or just to
Mm-hmm.
say something nice to somebody, because you never know what that person is
Absolutely.
going through.
Mm-hmm.
And it may just be, oh, hey, girl, you look nice. Your hair is cute. You got your hair done. Okay, girl, you looking good. And you never know how somebody's um
What they're going
uh,
through that day. And what the one
not even
thing
what they're
is,
going through, but their self esteem, what their
yeah,
level is. They could
yep.
be looking pretty and makeup and done, but that could just be a
Mhm.
mask they're wearing to hide other things that is actually
Mm.
going wrong with them.
And can I interject something
Amen.
with you saying that, Bambi?
Hmm.
Like, I have often said this too. It costs you nothing to say hey to a person. Sometimes people are walking through, because a person that when I was younger, I dealt with depression. I was looking for someone just to say hey to me, to make me feel like I was alive and normal. And
When you
people
in
don't
school and you
understand that
feel
when
like
you are
you
going
by
through
yourself.
something, exactly, especially like when I lived in Atlanta and I lived in Detroit and I was there by myself, like you never
Yeah.
really got that social interaction with people to be like, you know what, hey, you look good today or whatever, just like Bambi was saying. But the key thing is that sometimes we are the reason why a person is still here, because people just don't realize that hey, that how you doing or how you feeling can stop a person from committing suicide.
Mm.
And everybody
Amen.
knows me, that follows me, I'm a big advocate against suicide and stuff like that, because I've been through it myself. And people don't realize that just saying that hey to a person that could have been that one thing that stopped
That
that
could change
person
somebody's
from.
mood.
Thank
It
you.
sure could. Look, girl.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, who's coming
Oh
in?
Jesus. I'm scared.
Shayla.
Hey Shayla.
Hi, everybody.
First of
Hey,
all,
boo.
let me just tell you how much I love
Hey,
all of y'all and miss y'all.
We missed it to you
Oh,
too.
so are you enjoy? Oh, you had to get you some water. You had to quench your thirst on Viv, girl.
Girl, did you hear it go through the microphone
Girl,
real
it was
quick?
like,
The real
girl,
had
I
to
deep.
got a word. Let
hydrate.
me let me
Real deep
hydrate these
girl.
vocals. Listen, I had to do it. I've been sitting on it. I took last week to think about it. And I'm like, I've got to recenter. You know, it's so much online that's popular, that's messy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to get back to
Amen.
my core.
Amen.
And my core has always been to encourage and entertain, but to encourage. So I had to take that moment. And me and Jazz was talking last night. And you let me tell you something. When y'all have somebody who will tell you what they feel unapologetically, don't always take that as a negative.
Or
You need
read.
to hear right in the
Amen.
community. They always take it as a read. Let them express their concern and or love for you unapologetically. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I appreciate it. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh, wait a minute.
Well, you know,
Girl, I'm
people
gonna
say
have
I gathers people.
Hold
girl, I'm gonna
on.
have to give me a ring
Can I
doorbell.
can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Hey, J
Hey,
Love.
Hey,
Go ahead,
y'all.
Bambi.
no, I didn't. Okay. No, I just want
Uh-oh.
to say because y'all were talking about people, putting on fake facades, and I was like, you have to live for yourself. You can't keep up with everybody. I was
Yep.
like, hell, I rarely keep up with the times myself. I was like, as y'all know, I don't have social media or none of the
Tall
things.
tale.
I barely have an up to date phone. So,
You're
you
not gonna
know,
do that.
Did she just say all tail?
She did. You're not gonna do that.
I heard her.
You're not gonna do that.
It was you can't you have to live for yourself and you have to be authentic to yourself. I said if it's not for you, what you said, like if it's not for you, it's not for you, girl. You don't
It's
have to
not for
keep up with
you.
everybody else to be with
Yes.
everybody else. Girl, there's nothing wrong with coming to the party, girl. You can come to the
Mm-mm.
party, dip in and dip out, girl. You don't have to be
Yes.
over here trying to fake it and do the things. I was
You
like
don't.
Savon
Yes. Yeah.
said, when the girls come
Yeah.
in, you know, with their hair and lashes and all the things, girl, and their bank account say negative $25.
Right. Because
Right.
they done spent their last few dollars. Listen, I have been the proud recipient of the final funds. Listen.
Girl, if I'm
Bill
on my
Babies
final
done came
funds,
in and
honey.
said, bitch,
Y'all
I'm
know
giving you
that
my
song.
last $2.
Yes, I was finna go there, sis. That's
If
old.
I'm on
Last
final funds,
$2.
child, it's going to food and gas
Not
or something
gonna
like that, girl.
lose.
It's not gonna go to a new pair of shoes.
Okay.
No,
And
ma'am.
and I'm okay with that. But my thing is, girl, look, don't give me your last $2, girl, because you're gonna need that next week. But as long as you giving it to me, I'm going to receive. But people
And that
put on
tip.
these fronts. They put on these
Listen,
fronts.
because I've been the
Okay.
girl driving to work, trying to get to work, driving on fumes, honey.
Me too.
Completely.
Me
Completely. And
too.
on the side of the road with no gas.
Right.
Well, not me too on
No,
that
no,
one.
no,
Not
no.
hashtag me
Oh
too
I
on
ain't
that
never,
one.
I ain't never ran out, but girl, it was fumes in there, girl. She
Look,
was
mine
past
is
the
right
red
next
line.
to it.
She
Wait,
was
J
past, she was
Love.
past the red line.
J Love, are you on?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. What's up, boo?
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
I just want to say,
Uh-uh.
I what?
The
I
vacuum cleaner going
okay,
in the background. That's why I just waved. I'm sorry.
Oh, we don't
okay,
hear it.
okay. Um, so I just want to say I'm loving this word that's happening right now. Savon, this is me all day.
I do.
I'm in the comments. I'm like, yes. Um,
I
but
do.
I do I love what cousin Faith just said, and I mean in relation to what everybody's been talking about is about being an imposter, being fake. Um, it's something about
Mm.
having acceptance and then
Mhm.
also having self ownership, right? Because I'm at a point in my life where I have been like, we look at some of these really negative words and we just, out of fear of like being judged or whatever the case may be, we try to steer clear.
Yeah.
But I was telling my husband, I was like, let's say my best friend gets something or she gets a promotion. I'm like, damn, I've been working for mine. And I feel like I'm a little jealous. And I used to like, wow, I used to feel a certain way about,
You can't have
hey,
that on
I'm
your heart,
jealous.
sweetie.
What'd you say?
I
Right,
said
exactly.
you can't have that on your heart. I have a friend like
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
I have a
But what I'm saying is like I had to own what I was doing. Like, so there's acceptance, right? I
Yeah.
accept that I'm having a feeling. I accept that I have a reaction, right?
Yeah.
But how I
That's
go
right.
forward is my ownership in that, right? It's like, what
Yes.
am I going to do after that? Am I going to treat my best friend differently? Am I
Yeah.
going to try to do something that I know I'm not capable of doing to hurt
Mm-hmm.
myself in
Jayla,
that process of that? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Of
it's
course not.
nothing wrong with using your friend's success to motivate you to do better as well. That's why you hang around people that are greater than you or
Yes.
that are moving up, so that motivates you to want to do the same. You don't have to have that jealousy in your heart as well,
Here's
Well,
the
and
but,
people need
thing.
to learn that as
but
well.
what I'm saying is that I think what we are afraid of so many times, from like when we talk about the childhood trauma to
Yeah.
the adult trauma, from
Mm-hmm.
like what our parents did to what our friends
Mm-hmm.
do, like it's about being afraid to accept that you're feeling something, right? Like
Yes.
you feel judged, you're
Yes.
judging yourself.
Yes.
Everybody's judging you. You try to jump in front of that, but
Yes.
if you accept and
Mhm.
acknowledge that I'm having a feeling, right? If I try to pretend that's not there, all that's going to make me do is get bitter. I'm going to be angry. But if I accept it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take this in. But my ownership in that is that, how am I going to move forward with it?
Yeah.
You have to, because we're human. There's
Yes.
no way that in any day that we all haven't at some point felt jealous or
Bitch.
envious or mad or fell in love. Like all of that happens.
Okay. Now, how many
That's all
times?
I'm
Wait a
saying.
minute. How many times have I been at your desk?
uh,
Mm,
1, 2, 3, 4,
mm,
5, 6.
mm, mm. Now, listen. Here's what y'all don't know. Here's what y'all don't know about J Love.
Carry the
We
one.
work together, girl. Look, J Love, we work together. So she knows the struggle. We have had to encourage each other on a
Exactly.
consistent basis, and that's what it's
Exactly.
about. Yep.
And sometimes you need that support system as well.
Right, and this, I mean, and Savon is truly like a person I feel like is my friend, and when she tells me like I about the messages and the life coaching and things like that, and then Kindred Spirit, because lo and behold, what I tell you, oh, I'm a counselor, I'm a licensed therapist, and she's like,
Yep. Oh, bitch, I need you. I was like, I need you. I was like, I need. She was one of the only people at the job. Let me just be very clear that I would be like, some bitch, I need you. Because, girl, at work, I'm what? I am super square.
listen, exactly.
You don't get any of this at work.
So, if I can interject for just a second, I feel like whenever we're going through and doing the jealousy and the being upset and like even with the name calling and stuff, I feel like a lot of that has been internalized from us when we were kids. So going back to when y'all was talking about the kid and the childhood traumas and stuff, because we're taught the crab in the bucket syndrome, especially in the Black neighborhood. Let's just keep it 2000. We're taught that, and then even with multifacets and different parts of our life, when we figure out who we are and we are part of the community or we're not part of the community, we still take that same mentality and we apply it to everything. Oh, well, why does she get it and I didn't get it? Or why did he get it and I didn't get it? Or, oh, they driving a new car, so they think that I'm better than that. Instead of saying, hey, you did a good job. Well, it's time for me to step my game up too, so I can do what I got to do too. Because sometimes you look at different things to be like, okay, so I got to motivate myself. Prime example, me and Savon. Savon's been doing this longer than I have, but me and Savon taking piggyback off each other when we learning something to take and step both of our gangs up on YouTube or whatever. So it's not that we jealous of each other, because we done sit up at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out programs with each other. So it's not jealousy, it's motivation. Or whenever I figure out something that she hasn't figured out, I'm like, girl, come on, I gotta show you this. So she's the same way, girl. We gotta stay over tonight and then we're gonna learn XYZ. You know what I'm saying? So it's about motivating yourself and keeping yourself, like Bambi was saying, around people that actually motivate you to be better than what you are.
I think what people got to.
Right. Well, I mean, I agree with you, Jasmine. Like, and I think you have to get to that mature point, though, right? Like, I think in general, when you talk about growth as a person, like I think those feelings still
Mhm.
occur. They're natural emotions, but like you
Right.
have to get to a point when you're able to connect with somebody who is gonna like meet your energy in that way. Because when we talk about like seeing it from a childhood perspective, right? It's been,
Mhm.
oh, you ugly.
Oh.
She called me ugly. Your brother called you ugly. Your sister called you ugly. You know,
Mm.
whatever, you know, like it happens in the
Okay.
family. It happens
Mm.
outside the family. And then, you know, for that little girl, when I watched that video, I'm like, it's the reinforcement of it, right? So like her, maybe she has siblings, maybe she doesn't. Maybe she heard it in the street, maybe she didn't. It could have went either way, right? She might have heard
Yeah.
it in the house first, and then the
Or
brother
she
said you
may
ugly,
or
right?
she may not have heard it at all, and it's just
Or
what
made
she
another.
felt about self.
Well, she has to have a concept of ugly first, right? So it has to
Hmm.
come somewhere. She
It
was so
comes from
young
school.
That's
from
And it
why
she
could
you
have,
walked to
need,
but
school,
it
that's
could have
why
right?
been
it's
if.
important for people to hear that at home first.
I
No
think
matter,
that
even if you're
Exactly.
pretty or ugly, no matter what, if you hear it at home first, I think that for those that hear it all the time, it's nothing for them. But if you hear it at home first, when that little boy come around, oh girl, you look good, this and that, he ain't. You already done heard it, girl. You need to come with something different, girl. Telling me I'm pretty is not gonna get you in these draws.
I
Right.
Right.
think
Come with
we need to
something
You
else.
take
have to
it.
have it.
I
Hmm.
think we need to take it one step further. And fuck, I don't forget what I was gonna say. But
But
I was gonna
maybe
say
she's
I think
being.
we need to take it one step further because it's not always what you get from home. It's also making sure you see people like you in
Mhm.
positive position.
Yeah,
Mm,
I was just
That's what
yeah.
gonna
we
say
had to.
that because maybe it was a mother or a grandmother that looks similar to her or the same skin tone, and their boyfriends or friends or whatever say, "Girl, ugly." Because let's be real, you know how nowadays people walk into, "Bitch, what's going on?" You hear it so much, you come like you're not even. It's not even something that's a trigger for you anymore. It's the everyday talk. So somebody, well, girl, you ugly and such, and if she's a mirror image of her mother, then if a mother makes her feel that way, or a brother or a cousin or whatever, then said she was ugly, or then said that to the mother, you know what I'm saying?
Yep,
Kids pick up on that a lot
they do.
easier than adults do.
I
I
mean, but
make
parents
sure.
also sit in the mirror and say, "Oh, I'm fat. Oh, I'm so
Hmm.
ugly." Like in
That
my
self
Right.
eyes, and
consciousness,
they're looking at them. They're looking at you like you're my mom. Oh, so I'm looking at my skin too. I must be ugly.
right?
Oh, girl.
That's
Or
So
how
wait,
many
yes.
how many
wait.
times have y'all seen videos that of the dark skinned girls that they don't get to play that the those of us that are light skinned or fair skinned, we get the play of the new rappers or this one, and you're always taught that you're not pretty because you're dark
But
skinned.
but here's where we have to take our
And her
power back.
mama is lighter.
Hmm.
And here's what we got to
Yeah.
speak on it. Here's what we've got to take our power back because honestly, they don't control us. We control them. If
Hmm.
we put our money where our mouth is, they will follow.
Right.
Hmm.
Seriously. So in this particular situation, we've got to make sure that our kids see people like them in position of power. And there are people in position of power. We have to make that popular. We can't leave it to NBC and CBS to make it popular. You
Fair.
introduce your children to these people because they're not going to
Right.
bring light of it. One, because they're scared of it and they don't
Right.
want anyone outside of themselves and people who look like them to be in powerful positions. That's what I said, and that's what I meant.
Right.
Period.
Absolutely.
Now, it's not always about racism as much as it is about protecting your privilege.
Hmm.
A
I
lot of
think I
times
think
it's
we
not about
struggle in the
race.
I think we struggle in the community though with accepting the fact, like I think of the microaggressions that I think Aunt Viv maybe mentioned earlier was just that you miss them sometimes. I know I have realized that I've missed many, and I'm
Mm,
going back like if I could go
Oh
back in
yeah.
time with this attitude, this personality, this
girl,
attitude, this confidence that I
girl.
have now. Listen, but I had to go through whatever I had to go through to build to this, right? And
Okay.
I respect that experience now.
Hmm.
Um, but in a sense though, like I start to look at things a little differently too, because we talk about what we see in our neighborhoods, right? So when we say we want to support small black businesses or it's
Hmm.
something like that, right? We have this expectation that if we see somebody who's having a black business, we want a deal. We want to break.
Absolutely.
I want to hook up, and we don't really truly support them, right? But we will be in
Mm.
line for the Kanye shoes
It's
or
not
Cardi
even
B
a black
shoes.
business, child. It's the people that work at you could be black working at a white establishment, girl. As soon as you see somebody black at the counter, you want a discount. I'll be like, girl,
But no,
but
as
but
a
the point is, right? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sigma.
no,
my
I was
bad.
just gonna say no, seriously, because
That hit a nerve.
I want Aunt Viv to chime in on. Wait, no, hold up. All of us need to shut the hell up. Shayla, hi,
Hi.
baby, you been on and we ain't gave you a moment to say a goddamn thing.
Well, that's okay. I'm
No, it's
enjoying
not.
the conversation. I just wanted to say hi because I missed y'all.
We miss you too.
We miss you too, Pooh.
Okay, but hold up. So Aunt Viv, so a lot of you, nobody on this panel remembers Yesteryear Savon, but Aunt Viv do. So she remembers the girl that was BBW girl.
Right. And
Okay,
motherfucking
girl.
flawless.
Okay, bitch. You knew me before the weight loss surgery, girl, and giving you all of the things. J Love knows the corporate struggle between both of those and today.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So
Ooh.
I've got two people on this panel that knows two different versions of me.
Come on, multifaceted.
Yes.
What would you say about that time? And this is not about me, but during the time when you first met me, I like to feel like I've instilled something in somebody. Was there what were the one thing that I motivated in you?
Ooh. Girl, motherfucking confidence. Like
Okay.
you know, I was talking to my best friend is gay, and I was talking to him about doing the show tonight.
Okay.
And I was just describing you, and I was like, well, she's like this and she's like that, blah blah blah, and she's this, that, and the other. And it was really just about you know, at that time it was really interesting because I had grown up in such a strict religious environment.
Right.
And I was like, how did we get here though?
How did we get here, girl?
But the energy that you gave, it was just always so pure. It was just always so like, you're flawless. Like, and I mean, honestly, I wish I could have been around that more at that time, because it was so different from what I was accustomed to. Like it was that, you know, when I posted your video of, you know, I came to vote, don't touch me, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, it was that shit.
Word.
And I didn't know nothing about that at that time.
Yep. Yep. But I tell you what, I wish I had known the struggle that you were going through, because I feel like that's why we crossed paths initially, honestly. I mean, of course, I did your hair. That's awesome. But I think it was more than that. I really do.
Oh, yeah.
Because your mom, me and your mom, once again, Pentecostal mom, so was my mom, so was her mom. And she was like, if you're going to get your hair done, you have to go here. She didn't let any of that shit sway her from getting her hair done. You hear me?
She didn't.
Ever. Your mom was one of the people that actually helped me become who I am today, because she was like, look, I get it. I'm in it. I get it. But you know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's a little different, you know, from your child. So yeah.
Yeah. So when you stepped full circle, when I came back to you, when you was like full circle, I was like, oh, okay.
Okay. Hold up now. Here we go again.
This is what a transition looked like. Like, okay.
Right. You're like, God damn. Okay.
It felt like I was really seeing you as you wanted to be seen.
And I felt like I was seeing you because you were going through your natural transition. You was like, so I was like, bitch, fuck it, bear it all. Remember, I said, let's just do it. I'm like, let's just do it, because I mean, let's just do it. I can't say nothing else. I'm like, let's do it. And then for J Love, when we met at work, I was like, girl, listen, don't let these hoes stress you, girl. Let my experiences help you. And that's why I feel like my walk, even on these YouTube streets, bitch, is just that. I can't, you know, yes, I can talk about the latest trends. I can talk about the latest news. I can do all that, but I'm much more than that.
Yes. And Savon, I remember when I got my hair cut for the first time by you, and that was in high school when I went short. And I remember like going into high school and people be like, oh my God, like, oh my God, you did this. And I remember telling them like, oh yeah, because I went to this person and like any other stylist you would go to, they would be like, are you sure you want to do that? You sure you want to go that short? And you was just like, let's do it. And so that was huge for me. I didn't
I
recognize
knew.
that. Yeah, that was a huge
And I
transition.
knew for my clients, any step like that was huge for them. And I just wanted to be a part of it. I liked breaking trends. I was like, girl, fuck that shit. Fashion comes full circle every 20 years. Why don't you go ahead and get a head start, bitch, and show them hoes what they missing?
Right.
That part. Period. So anyway, you guys, we've been on here for an hour and 30 minutes. That was way longer than I anticipated. Aunt Viv, thank you so much. One last question for you, and I hope it don't go too long. But if you gotta go, I understand. Now that we are where we are in life today,
Yeah.
how is that affecting, contributing, or making you more aware in dating?
I can't believe
I
you asked
know you ain't got to answer if you don't want to, girl. But I want to talk about it, girl.
I'm happy to, girl.
Okay.
I don't move the same.
Yep.
I don't need the same things. I think
Yep.
one thing I talk about is from my own experience. When it's a different experience when you date and you're looking for compensation for what you lack versus affirmation on who you are.
Ooh.
And I know,
Say
like
that
at
again.
this point in my life, yeah, you're looking for compensation for what you lack versus
Girl, say that louder for the
affirmation
people in the back.
about who you are. And at this stage in my life, I know who I am. So I can look at somebody and be like, you can't affirm that. You can't carry this. This is too much for you. And I'm okay with that. I no longer look at it like, why am I not enough? Why don't you like me? Why don't you want? Like, I'm like, baby, I'm the shit. And it just might be too much for you. And I'm okay with that.
So listen, I remember being in that space where I was like, so like they love me
That
until
sounds like Shayla to me, girl.
I mean, it's a certain level of confidence that's comes.
Here you go.
I mean, but you gotta know
Shayla
yourself
get a girl. Girl, I'm the shit,
People-
girl. You better keep up.
The one thing that I learned about people in this life is people are not attracted to facades as much as they are attracted to real. You will be amazed at how many people secretly, because a lot of times they don't always publicly announce what they feel for you, but secretly live for you for being authentic.
Yeah.
Live for you.
Be yourself.
That's all you can be. And just because you don't have the public validation that, hey, you inspire me, you never know who you inspire. Seriously.
Right.
Be yourself.
Yes. And so being in a space where that truly is enough for me and the only thing that I desire is somebody who can enhance that.
Yeah.
It's a different level, honey.
I'd rather you be yourself than be sneaky, honey. I don't like no sneaky ass nigga.
I don't like that either. And it's okay. Whatever reasons you have to be with people, whatever choices that you make, it's okay. Folks will pass judgment on you about shit they will and won't do. And then when you have a true, transparent glimpse into their life, you find the shit that they truly will and won't do. Okay. And it's not that different from what you will and won't do. So don't take any of this shit. What I say, don't take it serious, girl. It's just entertainment.
It's just entertainment.
So anyway, we are at an hour and 30 minutes. I'm not staying on here long because I got a whole man downstairs that I need to appreciate. I love you guys for coming on, for being here with us, girl. Look, I want everybody to tell people where they can find them at. Cousin Faith, where can we find you?
Uh-oh.
Come on, Cousin Faith.
Uh-oh.
Girl.
Here tomorrow for noon service.
Just know I'm coming to dinner, girl. So how's your kids? How's your wife? Because we snatching everybody around here.
Yes.
I'm locking the kids in a room and I'm taking the husband, okay?
Period.
Spoken like Cousin Faith. Okay. I said be transparent. J Love Muffin, thank you so much for rocking with me and coming through and supporting like you always do, boo. You know,
Of course,
in
I'm wonderful, y'all.
in 2 weeks when I'm back, because I can't promise you next week, girl. We have to see what Wednesday look like.
Good night.
All right, good night, love. Shayla, thank you so much for rolling through, standing back. I know how we do. Jasmine Divine, they can find you tomorrow, right? For the
Yes,
cool down.
we'll be doing the cool down tomorrow, and
Yes.
if you never experienced the cool down is something different. You know, I first and foremost, thank you for coming through and being transparent. Thank you for
Yes.
allowing us to get past that guard and to see a different side of you that you probably normally don't share to people. So I'm thankful and I'm appreciative of that.
Mhm.
Thank you for being young as you are and walking in your truth and knowing who you are. Because a lot of people at your age don't do that. And me looking at you, I know that you're young, but you're old in spirit. So
Baby.
whoever you've been walking through and been encouraging you, you keep that encouraging people around you.
Come on,
And
God.
you know, I'm not gonna get into it because you know we on the same page.
We
Because you
do.
know,
I do.
my mother is an apostle.
Mm.
You know, my father is a deacon, so it
Mm.
runs here. So when me and Savon talk, we get deep sometimes. Anyway, thank you,
Yes.
Savon, for allowing me to be a part of the panel tonight. Thanks to everyone that came through and showed their little support tonight. Don't forget, y'all, we have 34 people watching. We only got 22 likes. Let's get those
Girl,
likes
that's
up.
all
Let's
right.
show us
I'll
how
take
we
them
doing it.
22 likes. Yes,
And
God.
one more thing, and then I'm gonna shut up and get up out of here. Don't forget to be encouraged, y'all. If you see somebody down the street, say hey to them. That's still free. You ain't gotta go on a long conversation. Just say hey to them. That one hey could be what a person needs in order to know to validate them that they're still human and they're still alive.
Hello. Now,
Um,
all right, one moment. On TV, bitch. Listen. Baby. Hey, baby. Look. Hey, baby.
Hey,
Thank you
baby.
so much. I don't think you realize how much this blessed others, and then more importantly, bitch, because I'm selfish, how much this means to me.
Yes. This was
You
dope.
keep doing what you doing.
Thank you.
And know that you are inspiring people both young, wonderfully fabulous like myself, and old. And let God continue to use you and walk in truth. You're going to be exactly where you need to be. It's not going to be in a traditional setting, but it is going to be exactly where you need to be. And you're not going to want for anything. So continue to be you. Let them use you.
Yeah. Amen.
Learn.
Prophesy, Savon.
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna let it go because hoes be trying to come through acting like, no, I ain't got a word for you, girl. God ain't gave me that. I don't care nothing about this Cash App, girl. God ain't gave me that. Mm-mm. No, ma'am.
Yes.
And yes, and continue to be authentically you, and know that I want you back.
Okay.
Okay.
Bless him. Yes,
All
I'm
right,
ready, baby.
then. All right,
Thank
love.
you.
One moment. All right. Y'all, this has been another session of what? The Save On Experience Saturday Night Social Club.
Yes, honey. Yes.
Okay, bitch. I'm about to get the fuck up out of here before my what? Ring again, because ain't nobody else coming in. And y'all have a good night. Like, share, and subscribe. And I appreciate you and I love you guys. And I'll see you hopefully next week or week after. I don't know how I feel. It depends on how I feel. But you will see me for Topic Tuesdays, okay? So make sure y'all go out there and check out me and my niece Chi Chi for Topic Tuesdays. Check out the Cool Down tomorrow, as well as a Chat with Divine on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard, or 8:30. You know, she's so respectful. She like, bitch, wait till y'all hoes get off. But you make sure y'all there. I'm going to talk to y'all later. And guess what? Stay true to yourself. Okay? All right then. Bye.